In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the power steering tensioner pulley assembly with the bracket and everything on this Toyota Tacoma with the 2.4 liter engine. Let's get started. From the top and the front of the engine, you can see this 14mm bolt that locks in the tensioner pulley for the power steering. You're going to want to slip your 14mm socket or wrench down here and break this free. You do not have to remove this, you just have to break it free. A lot of times these are somewhat stuck, so be careful. If it fights you, spray it down with rust penetrant, work it back and forth. As you can see, the pulley is already starting to move, so I'm going to leave that there. And now we have to loosen tension off the belt, which we're going to do through this 14mm headed bolt. Now we have to loosen this bolt in order to release tension off of the belt. There we go. Just go as far as it takes to get the belt off. If you need to go a little extra, go ahead. There we go. That's all we need. You don't have to remove this bolt. You don't have to push this entire pulley down. At this point, I'm just going to slip the belt off because it's going to want to fall off anyway. There we go. I just wanted to quickly show you the location of these bolts because there are three actually. There's one here which you can easily get to, as well as this one at the top. The tensioner sits like this on the engine. There's also a sneaky one down there. They're all 12mm in size. You can get to this one easily, you just can't see it very well because it's hidden. I'm going to pull this tensioner up a little bit, or the pulley, so I can get my socket in here. Once again, these are all 12mm in size. You might have to work around the fan a little bit depending on what tool you're using. All these bolts are the same, so no need to keep them separate. And last one is going to be all the way down. All right, there it is. There's the tensioner, and there's the last bolt. Take the new tensioner. I'm going to start with the hardest to reach bolt, which is going to be this bottom one right here, just because I want to get that one started while I can still move it around plenty. This is might take some maneuvering back and forth, and usually you have to work around the fan. There we go. Got it started. Don't tighten it. You want to make sure the tensioner assembly still moves around so you can line up the other ones, but as long as it's threaded in, it'll at least hold it in place. Now you can start on whichever other one you want. I'm just going to go for this one because it's easier to reach, and once you start in two, the third one will automatically line up. All right, put in that last one. Snug them all up now. Okay, let's torque them down. 14 foot-pounds is the torque for all three of these bolts. That's it. Now we can put the belt on. Let's get the belt back, make sure it's on the harmonic balancer still, and then slide it over the power steering pump pulley and then over the idler here. Once it's on but still loose, you should be able to just spin it a little bit and make sure it's on. And now with your 14mm socket, tighten up the bolt, but be careful, especially if you're using a power tool, not to over tighten it. I'll go over in a second exactly how to properly tighten this, but let's just get it close. Okay, so right about there, let's lock this bolt in. I cannot torque this, unfortunately, just because of the space limitation, so I'm just going to make this nice and snug. Don't over tighten it. You don't want to crush the center of that pulley, but go about 1/8 of a turn after it gets snug. That should be plenty tight. You want to take the longest stretch, twist it. This one's super floppy, so I'm going to keep going a little bit. Still a little bit. That feels a lot better. I can turn it about 90 degrees easily. After that, it gets a little stiff. I'm going to check it on this side. That's about the same. The length here is similar. On the short side, I can go about 45 degrees and then it gets tough. So I would say this is properly tensioned. Now we need to lock it in by tightening this bolt clockwise. There we go. This actually moved the tensioner up a little bit and applied a little bit extra tension, and I think that it's over tensioned now, so I'm going to loosen this up and back this off a little. You have to pay attention to that when you tighten it. Sometimes these tensioners go at an angle, so you think you have it right, but ends up being too tight. That feels good, so I'm going to retighten this. Okay, double check it again. You can always adjust it later. You don't need all of this apart to do that, but you want to make sure that it's not over tightened or too loose. That feels good.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.